That's what it is on a Monday. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom.
With my pen.
All right. Ron Benson called me.
Yeah, I didn't answer that.
I'll bet he wants open house help.
Possible. How are you? You? Yeah, relaxed. My kids are older than me. Yeah, we were just relaxed. We just. Nice.
You did what?
We saw a movie. What'd you see?
Oh, that sounds nice.
Dungeons and Dragons. It was better than I thought. Okay, yeah. I know nothing about it, but you know, it was cute. It was funny and. Okay, good.
I want to go see. I have no idea why I want to do this.
What?
But I want to go see the Mario Kart one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's actually adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it sounded like fun. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Sarah's back.
Already.
Well, she's on the Zoomer. Oh, now she ran away.
Oh, who knows?
Who knows? Mara, is your partner in crime with you or are you alone? Okay, there she is.
We just finished a listing appointment, so we ran to a coffee shop close by.
Nice. How did the listing appointment go?
Oops, they're gone.
No, Mara's there. I know people are bouncing all over the place. All right. Spring has sprung.
Yeah, right.
Not just in the real estate market, but in the weather. I know I was warm in here earlier. Now I got chill.
I know. It's chillier inside, I feel like, than it is outside.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's gonna be like that all summer.
I don't know, but think about how hot it gets when the sun comes.
Oh, yeah,
beating
in the afternoon,
window.
we'll all be sweating. That's why I come in the morning and then leave.
Yeah, someday I'll get to do that. All right, Sarah McConkey.
Hello.
So are you back in Colorado?
I am. We got back last night at about midnight 30.
Oh.
Yeah, it was icky. We got delayed and our gate changed like 75,000 times. And my pedometer has 21,000 steps. It was great.
Nice.
Yeah.
How was it?
Fucking magical. It was so amazing. It was so
Okay.
great. We swam with
Easy
dolphins.
with the adjective.
we swam with dolphins. I went snorkeling in Grand Turks. I lost my voice at a concert. It's fantastic. So
Love it.
In her best life.
She is, right? She is, right? And it was all because of real estate.
it is true. And it was so
I
great.
love
I
it.
loved it so
I-
much.
I love it. Now it's time to get back to work to go for the next big thing.
Oh yeah, everybody knows my phone's already been blowing up all morning.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. Well, who's got good news to share? Anybody? No?
We put a $2 million house on the market this weekend and we had one preview and we have a showing tomorrow. For some clients that are in town for 3 days, all cash buyers from Texas, and will buy a house in 3 days.
Buy our house.
So big hopes.
Wow.
Yeah,
How many houses are they looking at? Do we know?
no. No.
All cash $2 million though.
Mhm. And they particularly.
That's how they're going to beat us in April.
Uh,
I said, that's how they're going to beat us in
no,
April.
that's not gonna close this month. Yeah.
2 million cash good.
It could. We'll see.
See what they want to do.
Yeah.
right?
I love it.
Love it.
So is there anything else happening this week around that property?
Yes, we are having a broker open Wednesday from 4 to 7. What was that?
I was like, I'm gonna come, but we have stuff that night, so I'll have to see. Darn.
Sorry.
I'm like, dang, Wednesday.
Wednesday, 4 to 7, broker open at a $2 million house if anybody is interested in going to see it.
Yes,
Then on Friday night,
we'll have a broker.
there's
open.
also a broker open in Wyndham Park. We've got a patio home that will go live this weekend. It'll be in the MLS later today and coming soon, so I can tell you all about it now.
What time is your thing gonna be? 4 to 6.
4 to 6 in Wyndham Park. It's a patio home, 2-story with a walkout. It's a very unique walkout because it's got 2 walkout doors.
It does have a lot of.
They
windows
did
and
some-
sliders and like.
Yeah.
it's Beautiful.
One of the previous owners did some things that the other people said the HOA should have stopped them from doing, but they didn't stop them, and so it's done now. So
Grandfathered in.
grandfathered in, it is there. So anyway, couple of exciting things going on from that perspective. Jean Rivers is in town this week teaching agent financials. I know that just doesn't sound sexy at all. But Jean Rivers is a great instructor. At last week's leadership meeting, we convinced Russ to make it free. So anybody that wants to go to that class, let Charles or Elizabeth know right away.
And when is it?
Wednesday the 6th.
I'd say that.
But hey, it's a free class and
That's
Jean
fun.
is great to listen to. Some other things that are going on, partially on here and partially not. Rachel Adams Lee is coming 3 times in the month of April. Her first one is tomorrow from 12 to 2. I can't believe tomorrow's the 11th already. Make sure you get registered. Anytime you can do things with Rachel, it's awesome. But she's going to be leaning into how she got 131 referrals last year and dominates her market with video. And I know that's a big push for a lot of us. Wednesday, we got the team rally. Thursday is Jean. I'm sorry, Jean is on Thursday. And then we've got just all the other stuff. So,
And I have a new listing coming on the market every week this week or this month. I have a new
Nice.
listing every week this month.
Great job.
Not yet. It's coming back on the market.
That one's coming back on the market this week. The Brighton house is coming back on the market this week. I have an investor property that's going on the market next week. I have a house in Arvada coming that following, and then sister should be somewhere in there, and whether or not she's not, I have another in Arvada.
Way to go.
Yep.
Kick ass, Seabass.
Yep. We love it. We love it. We love it. We love it. Next Wednesday, the 19th is a big day. Coaching Skills Lab will be a live buyer consultation, similar to how we did the listing one last month with Brittany. We actually have a real buyer and a real agent who are going to be talking about helping that individual buy a house. So great opportunity to be a part of that. And then the 19th at night, let me help you. Let me help you close your buyers. So we're doing the buyer information night. It costs you nothing as far as cost. Every client of a coaching client will get a free copy of the Your First Home book. We'll have food. I'm going to do the presentation. You guys don't have to. Mitch is going to be there. He's going to help them all get started. Those that want to use him, get them started in the pre-approval process. But it's a great way. Just get your people there and let me do the rest. Okay. But we need you guys to RSVP, because I do not want to be embarrassed and have 10 books there and we have 20 people show up and I don't have a book for every person. On the same token, I don't want to go buy 40 books and have 3 people show up. So I need to have an indicator of who's got people coming and how many family units. So like if you have a husband and a wife, they get 1 book. Also, Mitch has donated a set of Apple AirPods that we'll be giving away to anybody that's there as a drawing. So lots of good reasons to get them there and to help them understand what's happening in this market. So questions?
We need to just send RSVPs to you.
There was like a spreadsheet thing and.
Okay.
In the.
I'll have to find that again and make sure a couple people are on it.
Awesome.
If you need the marketing materials, or the link to where to put in how many people, it's in your email. I think the email came from Stacy. And we'll probably try and send that out again today, just as a duplicate reminder. So that's all going on there. For some of you, not all of you, but for some of you, you're probably feeling like your business could use a kick in the butt. Anybody feel like their business needs to get a kick in the butt because you're not where you need to be at the end of the quarter? Okay,
I just need a kick in the butt.
well, come here.
I know. I'll volunteer.
I was gonna say, you got two of them here.
I'll kick you and then I'll hug you.
No, I don't, you all don't need to look at me. I turned it this way because I didn't have anybody in the room with me. For the earlier group. Ignite. We're gonna do it in May. We're doing things a little different this time. We do everything a little different with Ignite till we find the right recipe. It's going to be interesting. So first of all, the second Thursday of May is what?
Thursday of May is the 11th.
It's Red Day.
Oh, I was gonna say May 11th.
Block your calendars for Red Day
My
now.
daughter's in Little Mermaid the musical and has dance recital the same day.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure how she's supposed to be.
oh, that'll be fun. Anyway, block your Red Day, right? Because that's always fun and it always feels really good. I have no idea.
No.
And I was going to say I need to ask Debbie, but Debbie doesn't have that group anymore.
It's Heidi.
Yeah, I know.
Heidi's day.
So don't know what it is. I'm hoping that we'll hear soon. But anyway, it doesn't matter what it is. It's about the day. So how we're going to do Ignite. In my perfect world, everyone would be available for classes Monday through Friday between 9 and 5, and that's all we'd have to do. And the reality is that's not reality. So for the May run of Ignite, we're doing a couple of things. We're going to have a daytime class. Daytime class is going to run from 10 to 2 on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's live. There will be 0 Zoom options. You will be in the training rooms of your respective market center. And we'll do ours up here. But 2 a week. And it's going to be a much higher level. We heard you. We need time to implement. We need time to implement. So we're giving you time in between the sessions to create your buyer consultation, to create your listing consultation, to do the things you all told us you didn't have time to do before. So now we're giving you the time to do it. By the way, we're going to be checking to make sure you did. Okay. Then for those of you that are like, but Margaret, 10 to 2, I can't do it because of blah, blah, blah. Mondays and Wednesdays from 5 until 7, we are also running Ignite. Now, 4-hour session versus a 2-hour session. You tell me what the differences are going to be.
Speed through it.
You're going to speed through it, and you're not going to have the activity portion. You're not going to build the habits because it's going to be more classroom where it's going to be, here's how you do it. Go have a nice life, right? I don't like those types of sessions. You guys keep telling me you want workshops, right? Where you walk away with something or at least get started. I think it's going to be interesting how we're going to do that. But on Mondays and Wednesday nights, I think it's 5 to 7, we're going to do Ignite. The same sessions will be on Tuesday and Thursday. They'll get off a little bit with Red Day, but it'll be close enough. If none of those work, we have Ignite at Night. It's through a Facebook group. It's a program that's run by all of the productivity coaches nationally. In order for you guys to participate, I had to agree to teach 1 night a year. I can do that for you. So that's through Facebook. It's once a week. And I don't know anything about any of the instructors that are there, and I have no control of the quality of the instructors. So take it for what it is. We still will have group coaching on Mondays. So that will still be available. And then on Saturdays, we have our dual career, which is video only, Zoom only. But we are starting to publish what the shot sessions are going to be about. Okay. So Saturdays from 9 to 11 on Zoom, you can jump on dual career if you guys want to. This week, I'm talking about inspections. helping your buyer's expectations, helping your seller's expectations, how to negotiate your way through, and different strategies you can use through the inspection resolution process. If that's something that you that might get value to, I don't care if you're on this Zoom with me today, come join me on Saturday. Right? I'm exhausted, Nikki. You're looking at me like, woman, you are crazy.
It's like a lot.
By the way, I'm not teaching all of that. So you can all be blessed on that piece of it. Okay, Yvette is making me nervous. She is texting while driving her car and on a Zoom call. Boy, did that make me nervous.
She's at a stop sign, clearly.
I don't know. She's laughing, so I don't think she is.
I trusted that impulse.
Safety
No,
first.
I'm in between El Paso and Alamogordo, New Mexico, on my way back.
Oh, I-25 or I-10.
No, the other one, 54 on the other
One.
side.
Oh, okay. There's nothing out there. Just drive like a crazy woman.
Oh, funny, funny,
Yeah,
funny,
pretty much.
funny.
That's why you don't have to worry.
I love it. All right, so I know we've got some other good news for some people that joined us late. So who else has got good news to share, Stephanie?
Sorry, I was late. I was dropping off a earnest money check for a buyer.
Is this the buyer that had the inspection on
Yes,
Saturday?
Friday, and I didn't hear from them all weekend. I kept texting like, because they wanted me to do things for them. And it turns out they are gonna buy it, they're just not gonna buy it with her on the title. So all these things we were doing to get her on title. He's set to go, he put his earnest money down today, the inspection went great. And this is a really cool house over in Bel Air. So
Make sure Andy knows because she was updating all of those
We
disclosures to
chatted
add
this
the
morning.
names.
Yeah, we chatted. And something Margaret doesn't even know is at my open house on Saturday, a gal came in to see it. And I didn't recognize her, but she said, I was so glad I saw your signs. I've been meaning to call you. She is the writer for that Applewood Living magazine. I've been going bankrupt to afford the ads. She said, my husband and I are just, our house with the pool on Mountain Shadow Drive is too big for us. We want a smaller house in Applewood. So will you help us sell and buy?
Wow.
I said, no, I'm too busy for that.
Okay, Jamie almost looks like she's crying for you. So I want to dive into that. So I'm gonna come back to that, but I want to hit one more good news, Sherry and Mara.
They under contract.
She's got it. There it is.
Good news. Our closing finally. Woohoo!
Yes, Wash Park closed. Now if we could just get Spring Mesa sold.
Yes, we had two
That
showings
seller-
this morning, so hopefully
You got what? Say that again.
2 showings this morning.
Yep, I'm telling you, there's something about after Easter weekend, something's happening,
Hope so.
right? I mean, you guys have got cash buyers coming to see $2 million houses. They're getting more activity. I feel like Easter and the spring weather, and I think we're getting ready.
Hope so.
Okay, so Stephanie, that buyer that you were just showing off the earnest money
Yeah.
check, where'd you meet them?
I met his wife last Halloween at the first open house I did in Applewood. Margaret knew I was purchasing the advertising in Applewood Living, and she said, why don't you start getting your signs out there with open houses? So this woman came into my first open house wearing a cat suit, like a leopard suit with a tail. She was adorable.
This was Halloween, right?
Yeah, it was Halloween. And she can do whatever she wants because she's so cute. Well, she didn't give me any information. Her husband came and saw it too, but they didn't want to give me any information. The next week they came to the open house I had, which also had a walkout basement. And I could say to them, I would have loved to have reminded you to come to this, let you know I was hosting this, but you didn't give me your information last week. So I got his email. And for a few months, only a few months, I kept trying to send them things. They came to a few more open houses. And then they died, and frankly, I stopped following up with them. He called me April Fool's Day and said, we want to go see a house this afternoon that I looked at an open house, and we think we want to put in an offer. Can you do that for us? And I did.
Okay.
Yeah, so open houses are paying.
Oh, wait, and the Arvada Living woman showed up at your open house because she knew based on your signs you were in the neighborhood, because that's where you
Exactly.
always are. Okay, there are so many things I want to unpack here. It's not even funny. Okay. So how many of you want to dominate the neighborhood you live in?
Or near.
Yes, right? I just want the townhomes in my neighborhood, but that's okay. I got 2 of them already. Okay.
That's really
That's a
just,
lot of people.
it's just Candelas and Live Rock and
Yeah.
80007, that's it.
No, Amanda just wants to, dominate the world. I just want to dominate the townhomes of my world. So anyway, regardless, you want to dominate your neighborhood? Here's the thing. You got to make sure that you're visible.
All the time.
Okay. So I want to talk about this. I learned this from Dave Humphreys, actually. I always give credit where credit is due. It's not always my good smarts. Is how Dave started dominating Littleton was he got this random listing in this neighborhood and he has branded open house signs to him. And so he went out and he did the open house and they got really good traffic. And I don't know how he came up with this, but he decided he wanted that neighborhood. So he started calling the listing agents that had listings in his neighborhood and offering to do open houses. Okay. Because let me ask you a question. When people are driving in and out of the neighborhood, how many for sale signs are in front of a house? One. When we do an open house, how many signs are out?
12 to 18.
12, 18, 20, 25, a lot, right?
A lot more than one.
And we stack them, right? It's not like there's just one on the corner, but they're stacked. Okay.
Everywhere.
So when I am driving home from the Applewood grocery store and I'm driving down 26th and I see these open house signs, whose name is there?
Mine.
The person whose name is on those open house signs. Okay. Then the next weekend, I'm driving down 26th and what do I see again?
Same sign.
The same person. Remember the story about the fake real estate agent and the mailings for 8 direct weeks? If you stack open house signs that are branded to you, and you guys, that's the key. If you use mine that are branded to the office, this isn't going to work because they won't know who to call.
I made mine turquoise too.
But Applewood, people see Stephanie's stuff all the time. Candelas sees Amanda and Nikki all the time. Spring Mesa is starting to see Sherry and Mara all the time. So who do they think is the listing agent? Who's the busiest agent in that neighborhood? The one with the one sign in one yard or the person with 15 to 20 open house signs that's out every weekend? Now, does it happen overnight? Of course not, right? But you couple that with the trend that we're currently seeing in the open houses with so many unrepresented buyers walking in and buying the house that they walked into, I think it happens faster.
I've had some pushback from the listing agents, even though I'm usually in touch with them after the home's been on market for a couple months earlier in the year and now many, many weekends. And some of them have literally said, well, yeah, you get buyers out of it. What do I get out of it? And I say, well,
A sale? A
I
sale?
say, if you don't see the value in this, then I'm not gonna push you. I want it to be a win-win, but I don't want to work for people like that. You know, because I am
Well,
working for them. Right.
On top of the guy who wanted you to pay him $1,000.
He wanted
And
to host an
also,
open house?
and also make sure it was professionally cleaned afterwards. And it wasn't even clean to start with. I know. And when I
Smoking crack.
I told them, and Margaret said I shouldn't have, but I texted back and said, well, if you find someone that's stupid enough to do that, good luck.
So we are seeing that, right? And so I was talking to Jordan and Katie a couple of times in the last couple of months, and what they are seeing also is on their listings, agents outside of Keller Williams calling to do open houses. So listing agents are getting those phone calls. And you are correct, not all listing agents want somebody, like I would not let an agent who's not either part of my team or my coaching team anywhere near an open house in my, Right?
I have certain standards.
Yeah.
Well, and I've
Exactly.
written back to several people before saying, hi, you're not within our office. I don't provide open houses to agents.
And
not
I've
in
had
our
people
office."
say no because it's, you know, Weston Elm doesn't let me or whatever, which is fine, but the note that I send says, here's what I'll do for this open house.
Mhm.
Here are some references if you want to call and ask about me, and it
That's
seems to be
great.
working.
Yeah, that's great.
But here's the
People are
deal.
just asking.
Some people just
Well,
don't understand how to
that's
run
not
a
a
business, but on the
surprise.
same token, like if you called me and you were with Weston, Maine, I would probably say, thanks so much, Stephanie, but I just don't.
And that's great, and then I just don't contact you again.
Yeah, but it's not because I'm being a jerk. It's just that's how I'm choosing to run my business, right?
$1,000
Have $1,000. Yeah, I'm not paying anybody $1,000 to work their open house. I can find somebody else that
And
will
it
let
wasn't
me.
even a very- I mean, it was-
And it was a gross house, right? There's a
It was
reason.
the worst house on the market.
So crazy.
Yeah.
But the key is to not be overly picky when you're trying to dominate your neighborhood, right? But now all of a sudden what's happening is Stephanie's starting, her signs are starting to be seen, which is giving her validity, right? And even if you don't have a lot of sales in your background, right? Those people that are seeing those signs don't know that.
Yeah, right.
You put out 20 signs with your name on it, you must be doing really, really well, and you may not have ever sold a house.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and it's, yeah, and it just helps me in so many ways. I mean, I'm not only visible, but I'm getting to know the neighborhood better. I can
Sure.
see. Yeah.
You
so,
go preview 10 houses a week in that neighborhood, it ain't gonna take long. You're gonna be the expert,
hopefully.
right? So I love that, right? So open houses, I will tell you this, I am not getting the phone calls from our listing agents in the office that I used to get. Now, I think there's two things with that. One, listings are down.
I was gonna say, do you mean for people to host open
The big
houses for
Right.
them?
Yeah.
I'm not getting phone calls from anybody saying, hey, does anybody in coaching want to work an open house this weekend? I'm not getting that at the level I used to, although Ron Benson called me this morning. So who knows? Maybe he's got one. I don't know. It's either that or he's going to complain about something. Anyway,
Oh, I know what it is.
but a lot of our listing agents are hosting their own open houses now.
Mhm.
The ones where they used to give them to us because they didn't want to work them,
Yeah, they
their
want-
business is down just enough and they're seeing you guys get the business out of them. So I'm working harder to find more of them, but I am going to tell you, if you want open houses to be successful, you need to be like Stephanie and go find your own. And then if you find one and you need a helper, you call me and I'll help you find the helper. Okay. Or grab your lender.
A lot of the new agents really are hungry for this, and that's been really fun, and they like spending time with someone who has had a little bit more experience. I can tell you what Ron wants. He got some yard signs from an agent who's moving out of state and getting out of real estate. And so he's got some of the framed ones that sit in the ground where you guys could, whoever could just, it's the frames that he's giving away. And there's a post, there's one of the
Yard arms.
posts, yard arms. He had probably 4 or 5 of the small ones and one post and a few that you can put in the ground and get your own blank that says house for sale in this neighborhood or whatever. So he has things he's giving away. I went and picked some up this morning just to
Oh, okay.
have them.
Great. Okay. Yeah. If any, I don't think anybody in this group's interested in that. So
Okay, maybe the
um,
newer agents.
yeah, maybe. I did that once. I got a bunch of A-frames from one, and then by the time my brother got them all cleaned up and de-rusted, it would have been cheaper to just go buy my own.
Okay.
But you know, it is what it is.
Can I mention one more thing? My friend Angie Angiulio is, I've mentioned her before, I think. She's a graphic design professor down in El Paso. And she has, if you email her what you want in your logo, she can have her students will bid to get the experience for designing a logo for you. And
Cool.
it's dirt cheap and they're great.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. If anybody's doing a logo refresh, there's a contact for you. All right. So how y'all feeling about this market we're in?
Interesting.
I like that word. Interesting.
Not shooting fish in a barrel.
No.
You keep saying skills based, but it's in a way that you really have to be thoughtful with things,
Mhm.
which I think is interesting to
And
me.
things are constantly changing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like how many, I mean, we got showings on houses. We shouldn't be having showings on a Monday.
And
right?
we're having no showings on homes that we should be having.
What happened? Oh,
Super.
That house.
Zero.
nothing.
Nothing.
Doesn't tell her pride.
I know,
That's why.
I know. If Heather Slump takes the price reduction on that.
Other super on.
On hers.
All right, so it is skills based, right? It's being a strategic thinker. And I think that we're seeing more buyers. Are you guys getting the reload buyer referrals?
Yeah, they're all for like Parker, so I don't, the ones that text,
Oh, see, I'm getting, no, mine aren't. So I wonder if it's in your zip code. Anyway,
it's not a zip code I gave them, that's for
well,
damn sure.
I don't know. Anyway, the buyers are out, right? So how do we make sure that we are being efficient with our time with the right buyers? So what are your standards? By the way, next week, we've got the combined coaching group at 10 with the regional call at 11. This is National Fair Housing Month, and some of us went out to the class last week with Julia Lachey, The Color of Real Estate, and then did some agent masterminds. Everybody that went to The Color of Real Estate with Julia walked away feeling like, holy moly. So I want to dive into a little bit of that, but the number one thing I took away was be consistent. Do it the same way every day, right? And so especially with buyers, and do you have your consultations, your buyer consultation or your listing consultation down that you do it exactly the same every time? Do you ask the same questions, right? Around FERPTA and all of those things. But with our buyers, right? You do the buyer consultation. Are you immediately taking them out and showing them homes? Or do you have a requirement that says you have to have a pre-approval letter before you'll show them homes? Right? And whatever that is for you, make sure you're doing it the same for everybody. As your coach, I would tell you, why would you take somebody out to look at homes if they're not qualified? Right? I can't even book a showing at a $2 million listing in my community because they want them so well qualified. And I agree with that, by the way. But right? Let's make sure that our buyers are worth our time. If the answer is not today from their lender, but it's 6 months from now, then my next question to the lender is, well, when you do give a yes, what's my approximate budget? Because then I can start putting them in RE Colorado and at least keeping them motivated to see those houses. Right? What is your standard for buyer agency? I won't take you out at all until you sign one. I'll take you out once and then you got to sign one, or I'll take you out till we find an offer to write an offer. Just make sure you're doing it the same as your coach. Please don't do the last thing I said.
I have to say my standards are slipping because I'm getting desperate.
Right. And when we get desperate, we do things that maybe not always the best decisions for our businesses, right? And so, make sure you're holding your standards because, and you'll see this in a video next week, you don't want to be accused of discrimination. Right? And so if you do it the same, like I'll always give you one free day of 3 houses, then it's the same for everybody, right? And you just want to be careful, right? And I'll use Amanda as the example, even though she did everything right. Unrepresented buyer walks into her open house, bouncing between 2 different houses. If we don't write on yours, we're going to go ahead and come back to you and you can make us the offer on the other house. Now, she didn't have enough time to tie it down, right? But how many times do we not tie that particular buyer down with a buyer agency agreement, and then they go and buy a house from somebody else at the next open house because that's the one they want to buy? Tie them down. If you're going to invest time and money in them, tie them down. Okay.
And this is with this person that I'm under contract with now, and I've had it happen before. How do we handle people who they see being contracted with you as their agent, they see the negatives in it? This guy let me do a 6-week contract with him for this specific address. And I'm trying to sell myself. I think I'm selling myself well.
Has he said what his particular aversion
I
is?
didn't ask him because I'd run into it before
Mhm.
with a woman my sister sent me, and we started with a weekend agreement and then graduated to a week and then ended up.
So
being
me
on-
personally, I would ask them, so tell me a little bit about what your aversion is
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
working with me, because if I'm investing in you.
Mhm.
Why would, that make sense? And then the other part is, make sure you point out the part in the buyer's agreement.
Yeah.
This is where you have the right to cancel this contract,
Yeah.
and where I have the right to cancel this contract. I would tell people I would not want somebody in business with me that doesn't feel that I'm working hard for them or have their best interests at heart.
Mhm.
So if for any reason you would feel as though I am not, representing you well, I would just ask that we have a conversation.
Yeah,
And you give me the opportunity to fix anything, and if not, then we'll terminate our conversation, we'll
Yep.
terminate our agreement.
Mhm.
And it'll be easier than a divorce.
Yeah,
A
and
lot.
just be like,
Let me ask you a
here's all the
question.
things that you get from me as your agent.
Mhm.
And you have the ability that if I can't find you a house, we can't get you a house, you can terminate this agreement.
So let me ask you a question. No judgment. Are you doing an actual sit-down buyer consultation with
This
them?
was more on the fly. I've not done any of those. And then what happens is it's only after you're under contract and you're helping them that they see all the value you have, right? So
I think the buyer consultation is critical, right? And I get it. Like I had one recently, well, two recently, that I didn't have time to do the buyer consultation and I was writing the offer. However, I still sent them our buyer consultation booklet, and I still talked about, as I'm going through the buyer agency agreements, even before we get there on Zoom, I'm talking about all the reasons why they should be using us, right? So I'm wondering if part of it is the consultation.
Yeah.
The fastest way to find out is take one of your buddies here and go do a buyer consultation with them.
Okay.
And maybe they can pick out what's not being said or what's being said to create that confusion. Because with a buyer consultation, they should be begging to sign that document,
Well, yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
And don't forget, next week's skills lab
Yes, yep.
is all about the buyers, right? So again, for those of you that came to the listing one,
So
the
helpful.
feedback was it was amazing. I think the buyer one is going to be equally as well done. So good questions. Are we being strategic? We're going into the buyer year where all of a sudden now we're going to start competing against offers again. Do we remember all of our best practices and best tactics to give us the best opportunities to win those offers? Do we remember them all? How is your conversation with the listing agent? Do buyer's agents still call listing agents, Amanda? Most of them. Although I saw one recently that they didn't. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, right? Are you building that relationship with the listing agent? Are you asking all the right questions to help you write the offer? Not so much with this crew, but one of the things I'm seeing is that, well, I'm just going to write the offer this way. Well, did you ask the listing agent what their acceptance deadline is? Well, no. Do you know what the seller's desired close date is? No. Well, then how do you know if you need a post-closing occupancy agreement or not? Right? Like, polish up the skills, you guys. Polish them up, right? Are we remembering how to work an escalation clause? I hate them.
I love them.
I have mixed, it depends. Depends on my mood too. But guess what? How does the listing agent feel about them?
That's good. I had this listing agent tell me we were pulling our offer together and the listing agent got this offer he'd been telling me he was gonna get. And I didn't even ask, he said, listen, I have to tell you, I really enjoy our communication, and this person who submitted an offer, I only heard from her once. So.
Makes a difference, right? Relationships matter, right? How many times, I could ask Amanda and Nikki, right? How many times do you suddenly, or Stacy, how many times do you have an agent you want to win? And you will do things to help them without literally telling them exactly what they need to do, because you know that person's going to get them across the line, right? But having that conversation of understanding all the different things, right? Appraisal gap coverages. Here we go again. I heard they're back. Not hopefully as crazy as they were a year ago. I don't want to ever see that
And
again.
I'm still never gonna tell anybody to do an inspection waiver.
No,
God, that's
right? But are there ways to write the offer, right? Maybe you're going to just do the inspection for a go, no go decision, which means then you can remove the inspection objection and resolution and just do a termination. Or maybe you know so well that maybe you're buying a 4-year-old brand new home in a part of the world where you know we don't have a lot of structural issues. Maybe you don't put the termination in, maybe you only do an objection and a resolution. You don't have to fill out all of those dates and deadlines, right? What strategies are you using to give your buyers the best opportunity to win? Dust off your skills. What about your listings? What are you doing? What are your strategies to make sure that you're giving your seller the best opportunity to get the most amount of money? And maybe you don't have a lot of money to stage it with or to pay for things, and that's okay. But are you understanding your seller to be able to communicate to the buyer's agents who are going to call you? Do you know what your seller's motivation is? Do you know what their deadlines are? Right? I can't tell you how many times I see, well, they said whatever we wanted to do would work fine. No, it doesn't, right? Maybe they got to get through school and they got to get through graduation weekend and then they can move. Maybe they're under contract on a house across the country. No, across the country. And they're scheduled to close on a certain date. That might be important for you as the listing agent to know, right? Questions, questions, questions. The more questions you know, the better you're going to be to serve your client. Okay. And with your buyers, how do you kick them off the fence?
There's interest rate hike coming in May.
Yeah, but they don't care about that. Maybe they don't care about that. You just got to keep peeling back the onion to find out the why.
Yeah.
What's their motivation and what's their objection?
Yeah.
Well, my lease isn't up until June 30th, so I don't need to go look at houses in May.
Yeah,
Because when you rent, you can find a place to move into in 2 to 3 weeks, unless you're overly picky.
This goes back to the question you asked, like, what's the market like right now? And I just feel like it's deeply psychological. Like you really need to be listening to people and reading their body language and really thinking about what they're telling you. And I have the gal in Westwoods who's actually a relative of mine now. My niece married her son. So we have a great rapport. I enjoy talking to her. And I finally realized when I was telling her things about her house is so great, it's going to sell so quickly, all of that was stressing her out because she has things she wants to do. She's got commitments on her time right now. That means she can't fix up her house. She can't be decluttering right now. And so every time I was telling her how great her house was and how fast it was going to sell, she was thinking to herself, holy shit, I'm not ready. And it was just, it was clear in the way you could see her kind of even, she just was stressed out about it. So we finally came to the conclusion that we're not in any rush to put this on, that we can do it at the end of the summer. There's not a lot of houses available over there and it's going to be fine.
It's always their timeline. It's always their timeline,
Yep.
right? It's our role to continually give them the facts so that they can make good decisions, right? If she's saying, look, I can't even wrap my head around this until September, guess what? That's okay. That's okay. However, is it okay if I see the market starting to twist that I at least call and let you know that so you have that information, right? If I see this happening, may I please call you and let you know that, right? Because wouldn't that be horrible? If you see the market to start to flip and you go, well, their timeline's not till October, so I'm not going to call them until September. And had you told them that, they would have been ready to move in August and they would have made 20 grand more.
Mhm.
How do you just feel that you didn't pick up the phone?
Mhm.
Right? But it comes back to understanding them. Here's the other thing. all these things they want to do to the house. Who said every house we sell has to look like a model home?
No,
Right? Our role is to help them make the most amount of money net. Right? One of my favorite lines I use with sellers when they say, I want to get top dollar. I'll say, that's great. Do you want to be able to walk away and say, I sold my house for more money than anyone's ever sold a house for in this neighborhood? Or do you want to net the most amount of money? Because they're not the same. You guys all understand that?
sure.
If she's got to put $40,000 into her house to make it be the top dollar of anyone that ever has gotten in the neighborhood, that might cost her $20,000 in net. When you add in the repair costs and the time and all of those types of things, right? So are you having those conversations with your sellers where it's, if I sold the house in the condition it's in, it's this much money. If you want to fix it up, it's gonna be this much money. But is the difference between the two, are you gonna get your money back? And if the answer is no, and they don't care about selling the house at the highest price ever, this doesn't matter. And I just realized anybody on the phone couldn't see all my hands because I switched the camera.
Great hands.
They're
Jamie.
great
Super
hands.
hands.
See, they're like this, okay?
There we go. It's like Vogue.
Gap, right? What's the gap? Right? So she might be one, she doesn't need to do all of those things.
And that's what I told her. I said, of the 10 things you just mentioned, I think 1 and 2 sound like really good ideas. And would be, you know, and then the person who was giving her an estimate for doing the work said the same thing. You don't have to replace your carpet. Maybe you can clean it, but I don't even think you need to do that, which is what I said. So that's good.
So here's the thing. Sometimes, depending on our relationship with people, they don't hear us. As a matter of fact, some of you are going to talk about know Lisa and Bill. And the very first house that I sold for Lisa and Bill, Lisa had it in her head that she had to completely remodel this bathroom and she had to do X and she had to do Y and she had to do blah, 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 blah. And it was going to cost her $50,000, but it was no big deal because she was going to do it because that's how she had to do to sell her house. She was going to take everything out of the main floor and refinish all the wood floors and deal with the dust and the cleaning and all of that. And she's going to do all of these things. And I kept saying, Lisa, you don't need to do that. But she says, but Margaret, you've only been in the business for like 3 months because that's how long ago it was you quit. This was my former boss. So she knew I was newer. She knew I didn't have a lot of experience under my belt. So what did I do? I paid $300 to an actual stager. And I took her down there.
Made her say.
And I did not prep her at all because I'm new. Like, I'm not, what am I going to tell this stager, right? This was the gal who works with Robin Phipps, right? Like, she knows more about real estate than I do at that point in my life. Okay. So I took her down there, didn't talk to her at all. I'm like, we just need you to walk through the house, tell us what needs to be done. So Lisa's doing the, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. And Hillary's like, well, that's a waste of money. Well, that's dumb.
Ooh,
Hillary doesn't pull any punches. She's like, Nikki,
don't
that's
sugar-
dumb.
Don't sugarcoat it.
Right?
There, friend.
And guess what? When we got all done, Hillary left the house and said, well, I just saved you $35,000 today. So go ahead and just do those few things and you'll be ready to go. But because it wasn't me, because it was a stager, it was somebody who that's what they do. They had more credibility in that arena. You might consider doing that. You might have a couple of them sitting in this room. Okay. Let someone else be that voice of you don't need to do that. Focus on these 1 or 2 small things.
And I find it's worse with the men. The men have a completely different analytical brain when it comes to what they have to do to get the house ready. And they're concentrating on those when, like, perfect example, we have one who's like, I gotta stay in the fence, I gotta do, you know, like all this stuff. I was like, no, you need to pack the inside of the house. I need all this stuff out. I know, but the fence needs staying. I go, not right now, it doesn't.
No,
We
you
need
need to get all this
everything out
plants out of
out.
the house.
I know.
That's a
So
boy thing.
you do, you have to be the bad guy and you have to be, I try to be nice at first and I say, please just know whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm not saying this to hurt your feelings, but there are certain things that are important. And I'll say, here's a level of priority. If you get this, and done, then go stay in your fence. But until all these are done, do not stay in that fence. Because we don't have time for that.
And nobody's gonna come in and go, you know what, I would have bought that house, but
Yeah.
they didn't stay in the fence.
Right. Exactly, right? So part of that, Stephanie, could be they know a little bit about you.
Feel like she was resisting me. I felt like to have another person say the same thing was reinforced it for her.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
I feel, but definitely I'll have clients in the future that I'll use.
There's
I'll use-
sometimes-
Absolutely get a stager in.
Oh, I have gone and been the stager before
Yeah.
and I just ain't good at it, but
Just having that other voice helps
Yeah.
them go, oh,
Mhm.
okay.
This is practice. This is standard practice. This is the best idea.
Yeah.
and I don't know how you guys do it and I don't know how Sherry and Mara do it, but I know for us, there are times I don't go with Stacy. Because I want them to see her as the stager without me even being part of that voice, which is probably good anyway.
Sometimes we'll sit down and like, I'll be going over the contracts with the husband. And she'll be walking the house with the wife, going through and doing the list of all of the
Mhm.
things.
So she'll go, she's the boss, listen to her.
Yeah, well, she's the boss.
Yeah. So anyway, lean into those kinds of leverage situations when you find that. And that's another area where the net sheets play such a huge role, right? Here's the net sheet. If we sell it the way it is, here's the net sheet. If you do all the work and spend all the money, here's what you would walk away with. Does the difference in these two make it worth it?
Right.
And sometimes it's not about the dollar worth, it's the time, it's the stress. How many of you have ever gutted your kitchen in your house? How fun was it?
It's horrible, but.
How many of you have ever gutted the bathroom? Yeah. And if it's the only one in the house, it's a real problem. It's awful, right? So sometimes even if they would get the money back, it's not worth the stress and the energy and ugh.
What
Right?
you might find behind the wall that you didn't know about now, you have to disclose.
There's always
Yeah,
an electrical
there's-
issue. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Right.
Oh.
Exactly, right? So again, it's all about that strategy as we're working with our clients. And I gotta tell you, I just think we're not asking enough questions. I think that last year we got so good at sign here, let's go. Right? We didn't have to know what was important to our sellers. We didn't have to think about what the house looked like. Now, some of us did and some of us didn't. I mean, listing agents in general, right? Some of us didn't care. Look at how crappy some of those houses were last year. And people still paid ridiculous amounts of money for them. Right? And the market has changed. And so getting to understand our clients at the highest level, I think is super important. So just make sure you've got those conversations, those objections handled. So that's my big thing, just making sure spring is sprung.
It's here. The pollen
I know.
is flying.
I've gotten to wear sandals 2 days in a row.
Open toe sandals.
Nails are painted for
I need a pedicure. I need to go get a pedicure.
Placement.
I tried.
Nikki has fabulous hair today, which I don't know if that was discussed in the 10 minutes before I got here, but I feel like it should be on the agenda.
Boy, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right. What else is on you guys' mind? Get your people to the buyer seminar, please. I think we have a total of 2 people on the RSVPs. Okay.
So I will let you guys know, we didn't invite the entire office to the VIP broker open on Wednesday. But if you would like to come and you're on this call or in this room, let me know and I'll send you the invite information. I didn't send it to everybody.
I want to hear all about it.
Oh.
Yeah, we only sent it to luxury.
That's
Oh,
great.
gotcha.
You
Oh.
guys run a good free party, a good.
We
free
sure
game
do.
party.
Well, I mean, you want the agents that are going to have the clientele that
Yeah.
is going to call.
Seems fair.
Although I think for some of those, I think there's some newer agents that would fit into that category.
You want to pass their names along? Let me know. I just don't want to, I mean, not that everybody comes anyway, but yeah. You know, I have had some people come in the past and not represent well, yes.
I can still come in my blue jeans.
Absolutely, but
Yes. But maybe.
Yes, I know exactly. I was there that night.
Just say that came.
Stories.
So, all right, everybody. Well, go have an amazing week. Let's get some stuff fired up. And Sarah, I need to move your one-on-one, so I'll send you a text with some options.
thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Hi, thank you.
Oh my God.
Knew it.
Oh,
I knew it. I knew it.
uh-huh.